Do you consider yourself to be lucky or not? What's your definition of luck? Or have you ever wondered what is it to be born lucky and having life served to you on a golden platter? If you got any of these questions running in your mind, and I'm sure there must be a reason that you clicked on this video to watch, you are not alone. Hi, my name is Helia Singh and welcome to my show, Wealth Coaching with Helia Singh, the fastest way to build wealth. Until just recently, I used to think I'm not a lucky person. And I used to feel that, well, luck is only for certain people. And to me, the definition was this, that you are either born with it or not. And in my, again, definition, I had three sort of peoples. One was lucky people, which was, it was rich people. And then the unlucky people, which are the poor people. And then the middle class people like me. So we are just there. So that's why every time I tried to do something and put the hustle in, and despite all my efforts, it felt something was out there to rob the happiness from me, and life was just giving me and throwing me those curveballs to tell me that, look, you need to stay in this middle class. You are a mediocre. You can't just go up there. Just be happy and grateful for what you've got, and that's it. And that was very, very frustrating for me. So it felt that life is was a fate for some people, and I had no control. And if you know me long enough, you know that control, I always had that issue with it. Come on, I wanted to be in control of my life and know exactly what I want to do with it. So that's why we are talking about the luck factor today. My name is Helia Singh, and today you are watching another episode of our Wealth TV. And today we are talking about luck, how to increase it, how to manifest it in our life, and how even to change our vibration around luck. Because only through luck we can increase our success, which is inevitably end with wealth, which is from inside and also from outside. Most of this topic is a credit to the book that I read a few years ago, and that's called The Luck Factor by Richard Wiseman. I suggest you to read this book. You will learn a lot from it. That's just become like my mini Bible these days. But first thing first, when it comes to luck, I want you to be open-minded about it, that luck is something that we progress towards it. It's not something that you either get it or you don't get it. So it's a slow progress, but once you are there, that's it. Then you reach that abundance that you will receive luck from right and left is just coming to you. Hanging there, I'm going to explain to you what's happening. And if you are one of those people that think that success is got to do with luck, so of course there are many people feel this way, and it is true. Julius Rosenwald, he was an American businessman and philanthropist. He said that 95% of success is actually luck, and 5% is ability. But not everybody get the chance to show their ability. So even a very successful and rich businessman is admitting that success has to do with luck. But luck is something we can create for ourselves. As a person with a mathematics background, I would like to look at the correlation between luck and chance. So what do you think? Why do you think the chance, and like when we say to people that, okay, this person is lucky, what is the word chance comes in there? Well, hang in there. I'm sure, if like for the person as old as I am, and it doesn't matter how old you are, if you look at back of your life, you will see that there are many events happen that time when you look back, you say, oh, I'm so lucky that I was rejected from that job. I was so lucky that I was rejected by that person, or I got so lucky that I failed, or my car broke down and I couldn't go to that party, and then, those things happen in that party. I'm sure these things happen. And that's why we want to go through a journal to find out how luck has already played in our life and how we're going to change it moving forward. So make sure you have a pen and paper ready and write down these things. In one column, write down any events in your life. It doesn't matter as far as or that you remember your childhood, that's fine. Write down whatever you thought that it was not lucky event to you, so, or you think that wasn't lucky. And in another column, write there whatever event that you thought, oh, that was a lucky break, or wow, it was good that this happened to me. Write them and just leave it for a while. And even if you want to come back to it and add to it, please do it. But interestingly, you will see that, without you knowing it, I've done that research that, it shows that people, 50% of people actually believe they are lucky. And only 16% think that they are not lucky. And 34% of people are just right in the middle. They say, oh, it's neither lucky or unlucky. Then look at your numbers and see with your life events. So how is it stack out? Do you think, let's say if you wrote 50 events in your life, how many of them you were thinking that you were lucky, and how many of them you thought you were unlucky? And compare your result to the research and the numbers that I've just told you. Then you'll see it's all about our perception. When things happen in our life, right then, obviously, we get upset, disappointed, and we think that, well, life is unfair. And sometimes immediately we label it in our brain unconsciously and say, oh, that was unlucky. But it is just only the way we saw it. But as the time goes by, you look back and say, oh, that was so lucky that didn't happen. But unfortunately, as humans, we forget to be so grateful about that, and we just think that, okay, this has just happened because I was smart that I didn't fall in the trap. But how come when we get the lucky break, we look at it as our doing, but when it comes to bad event, we just want everything blamed on luck. Think about that. So this is all about perception, our mindset, and how we define the event in our life. When we dig deep in our life, you'll see that being lucky or unlucky has to do with the result of pure chance and probability. That's what the law of probability and the maths comes handy. You see, to be fair, chance is actually the random event that happened, but luck is the consequence of that event, that how we interpret that consequence in our brain and what we are feeding ourselves and telling ourselves about that event. Well, I'm sure if Thomas Edison was still alive, you could ask him that what made him to go, more than 10,000 experiments and still keep going. Do you think it was fair that after 5 or 10 or 20 experiments he would just give up and say, well, I had enough of it? So that's what it is. It's all about our mindset and our perception around luck and how we define it. So that's why now I want to tell you about what are the differences between lucky people or unlucky people, the way that we label them. Lucky people constantly face the chance opportunities and they actually take it. But unlucky people, they either contemplate so much and sitting there and thinking that, oh, whether I should do it or not, or they want to make sure every measurement is correct before they do anything because they are scared of failure. Another difference between lucky and unlucky people is lucky people, they make good decisions. That's what it seems. But the reality is they make good decisions because they made so many bad decisions that they finally figured out what works for them. It's just the same as this, that if you stay at home and never cross the road, obviously you will never be hit by a car because you didn't even take the chance. But that's life. You get to choose whether to live your life like that in a bubble and not to enjoy anything in life, or take the of course calculated risk and of course look both sides of the street and then walk through it. So, but still, if that happens, that happens. But you're already robbing yourself from so much joy and happiness and other opportunities, which is worse than being unlucky. The amazing experiment actually happened, and that says that lucky people's expectation of luck is twice of people who are unlucky. You see, when you ask the lucky people that say, well, what do you think this is going to happen, or whatever decision they made, whether it was a financial decision or relationship decision, or even let's say a weather decision, they say, okay, I'm going to buy tickets for next year to go blah blah place. And unlucky people immediately say, what's going to happen if by next year this happens, or another pandemic happens, and then you're going to lose your money. And they say, well, look, I already took the measurement that, okay, I'm going to get the refund for my money or whatever, but I'm expecting this is going to happen to me. So you see, life is full of surprises and things that it's completely out of our control. But how we see it, how we expect the good things happens to me, is actually inspiring us to do better in life. But unlucky people, by saying negative things to themselves, they justify their inaction. They think, okay, why do I have to do this? Because I know life is going to take it from me, or another pandemic happens, or government will do this or that. But unfortunately, the only person who is hurting here is just themselves. So that's why they say the unlucky people, while they're just sitting there waiting and contemplating on things, the lucky people is just surpass them and just take it over. That's something to think about. And also, lucky people, they have a very relaxed attitude towards life, and they think that, okay, they are not open to new experiences. They are not, whether they'll go to a new country and then they said, well, I'm going to go try different food. But unlucky people, they think that, okay, no, I'm not going to try the new things because I don't know whether this is going to be good or bad. Don't get me wrong, of course, everything has to be to a limit and being reasonable behavior around new experiment. I'm not talking about going and experimenting in drugs or this or that, but it's just to be open to opportunities. So that's why when you look back and said, if we divide people's personality to extroverts and introverts, you'll see that extroverts people, because of their attitude and because of their sociable attitude, they'll get to meet more people. Because they take the chances. They don't mind to go talk to strangers. And of course, the more they meet new people, the more opportunity comes along for them. And that's why it's fair to say that extroverts, they seem to be lucky. And when I read this book and when I found out about all these, of course, parameter and why the lucky people are this way and unlucky people that way, that was a real hit for me. Because, well, those who know me know that I'm a complete introvert person. And, I don't like to go talk to strangers, or at least I didn't used to like that. But then I started taking steps to say that, look, in order to increase my chances, I have to go talk to people. I can't just sit in the bubble and always think that I'm a victim and life, made me this way and born like this with this attitude, and that's it. I am, it's just like, it's not a life sentence. It's a life to live. And I have to do something about it if I want to change my luck and if I want to see whether at least this book is what it's saying is correct. But even before I get to that level, when I was looking back at my life events, I found out many things that happened to me in life, even including the horrible things happened that made me to leave my country and come here, that actually worked out in my own good. So if I would have stayed back home and those events didn't happen to me, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to enjoy life, appreciate my life as much as I do right now. And that was a wake-up call for me. See that how I'm perceiving what happened to me is just creating the luck around my life. And also, another thing that I learned was lucky people, they trust their gut. They trust their intuition and they always, rely on themselves. But that was something that definitely I didn't have with me. I used to think that, every time I made a choice, it was wrong, so how can I trust my gut feeling? But I learned that one of the ways that you can increase your intuition is to increase your self-confidence. And self-confidence happens through that even meditation and having the small task and achieve them, and then tell yourself that okay, that you have got the journal, you did it, so that means your confidence step by step will increase. Because confidence is something that is like a skill. You attain it, you learn it. It's not something that you're just born with it. It's not like being a genius that you are at age 1 or 2, you can speak 10 languages. I'm not talking about those things. But as a normal human being, confidence is something that we can create in our own life. So that's why one of the ways that to increase that intuition is definitely a deep meditation. You ask any guru, any self-development person, or any successful person, doesn't matter in which field, they will all agree that meditation is one of the keys and are part of the daily routine. You see, when I say talking about meditation, I'm not talking about just that traditional way of sitting there and being in a quiet place. Definitely, it's still to this day, I can't do it. That's not me. But when I learned that guided meditation works for me, and along with the emotional freedom technique, so I use these two techniques together through meditation, and that created the magic for me. So that's why you owe it to yourself to find what works for you. So if in the beginning something doesn't work, don't give up. That's why this is another reason or attitude of lucky people, that they don't give up. They don't have the victim mentality that this is it, I tried it, it doesn't work, I'm unlucky. They label themselves as if like they take the responsibility of themselves. No, don't give up. Find a way that works for you. So, but now, is it possible to change our luck? Or, which obviously I believe it is, but whether do you think now, after this conversation, is it possible to change your luck? I want you to really listen to this next part of my story, because that could help many of you. As an immigrant, I took a chance when I came to this country, and of course I tried many things, and that's why I took the opportunities. And if you think that, okay, the opportunity was there and I took it and I was successful, well, of course she is lucky, you are wrong. There are many, many times that still failed, even though I was doing my best and even though I was taking the opportunities, but I still failed. One of the things that I felt that, well, I'm a bit embarrassed about it, but I think you all need to hear it, was I used to be actually a very seminar junkie. I used to go to any seminars that I could, resonate with that message or marketing or that person. And I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on many, many courses, which some of them were absolutely waste of time. And I was actually mad at myself. I wasn't much angry about the person who deceived me into it. And believe me, even we have those kind of people even in self-development industry, like any other industry, who take your money and they promise the world and nothing is there. But I was actually mad at myself that why did I trust this person? Why did I let my insecurities to let me decide and fall in trap? Every time that happened, I was just actually hammering myself for that, and didn't help me, of course, and just made me more mad and more feeling that, okay, look, you are not supposed to grow. You are supposed to belong to a mediocre group. And that was something that I didn't want to be. I wanted to at least prove it to my kids, prove it to others that, yes, if my life has been like this so far, I didn't lose all my hopes and, everything in vain. I wanted to do something about it. And I thought, what is the best way is by becoming successful. That's the best revenge I can take from life. The life that I used to think is just sitting there, waiting in the corner just to get me. So that's why I wanted to be committed 110% in changing my luck around. And that was way before even reading this book. I used to think, I'd try to look at every event in my life and just say that, wow, that's great, that happened. I know that was so silly of me to cry over this or being upset about this, but I'm so lucky that didn't happen. And I kept telling myself and reminding myself that how lucky I was for the event that was happening before and in my daily life. That's why having a gratitude journal, having that meditation as part of your daily routine, having time to reflect on what happened, why it happened, and what was the best outcome from it, and looking at the positive side of things or the upside of even bad event, that helped me to change my mindset around lucky and unlucky labeling. So that's why then I started actually telling myself in my brain, well, actually I am lucky. How come I didn't know this? And I felt that, as if like you wake up in the middle of a movie and it said, oh my God, I missed all this best part of my life, or the best part, or the climax. I felt like that I missed big things in my life because I used to think that I'm not lucky. But now when I look back and now when I see, and even now being here in front of you and talking to you, I feel that I'm actually a very, very lucky person. So it's all about our perception. If I don't know again about you, your background, but the culture I'm coming from, in my culture, or actually this being unlucky, it wasn't just about my mindset. It was so down deep in my actually DNA, in my heritage, that I felt that being unlucky is a norm, is just only a particular people or a rich people are lucky. And that's why I said that, well, if I was lucky, I would have born in those kind of family, not in the middle class family. You see, that cultural things, that heritage, that problem in our brain, something, that small voice which is keep telling you, don't bother, why you're working so hard, you are not going to get there, they're always going to pick someone else, over you. That was very difficult to deal with. I used to feel that, well, I know it's a bizarre thing, but I used to feel that if something good happened to me, something bad must happen to balance it. And I used to think that, okay, but by preparing for that bad event, so at least I'm not going to be so, hurtful by that time. Imagine how much I was robbing myself of that happiness that didn't allow itself to even savor that moment. Even at the school, when I was getting good marks, I used to think that, well, okay, probably by the time I go home, must have something happened at home. something bad, some either a fight or some argument at home, or seeing my family in distress, and it was always like that. It just because I was looking for that. Once we look on something, once we put our focus on something, that is the thing that expands and it's just going to show itself. This is how our brain works. This is how the psychology works. It's the same thing. I mean, they call it a red car experiment. Let's say if you want to look for a red car to buy, the next time you go in the road, every car you see is red car, and you thought, oh my God, before that, I didn't think there's going to be that many red cars out there. And even now you can pick any other color you want. So if you really liked a car, not just randomly, let's say an orange car or a green car or a particular car, you look at it. If you really like it, if you think you're going to put your money in there to buy, just put that picture in your room for a few days. I bet by next week you're going to see a lot of that car in the street that you will be shocked and say, I didn't even know where they're coming from. This is exactly how you find the luck in your life, or how you find the unlucky event in your life. It's all about what we feed our brain. Soon after those events and what I was thinking in my mind, I started to tell myself that, look, maybe I should have a parameter, maybe I should have a boundary for my luck. So I just want to push it a little bit. But that was actually my fear which was talking about. And I'll tell you another story. A few years ago, about 10 years ago actually, when the first time I was invited to do an interview on the radio, and it was just because of my work in the community, and they invited me as a female financial advisor, have a different angle to come and talk about it. So obviously that was a big achievement for me. I went there, I was so happy, and my heart was expanding, and I was just feeling that, wow, I never thought this is going to happen to me. And you will not believe, as I was going to that radio station and I was sitting in the waiting room to call in to get there for an interview, just checked my email, and I received a very nasty email from one of those forex trading companies and they accused me of something completely irrelevant, and they say, oh, you've been marketing our clients and stuff, which obviously I knew I haven't done anything. But that really distressed me, and immediately that came to me that, you see, you got too happy for what you're gonna get, and that achievement, you got over your head. You are not supposed to get that much happy. You are not supposed to get that much successful. And if you want to go that far, that people know you publicly, you're going to be shamed publicly. You don't know that what a heavy heart I went through that interview, and I had to smile, and of course that happened. But I wasn't feeling happy. I was obviously stressed, and it was late at night by the time I came back home. But believe me, the next day I received an email from the same company apologizing for the mistake that they did, because they thought of the name of a company, so they thought it was my company who did this and been targeting marketing to their members. You see, after that event, I sat there and I thought about it. I said, yes, it was easy for them to write that nasty email and threaten me that taking this legally and suing me and all those crap. But at the same time, it was me who told myself those nasty things, that you don't deserve it, that's it, life is just a limited success and you are not there to go further. And that was a wake-up call for me. That doesn't matter what others do to me. What I'm doing to myself is worse than what they said and they do to me. And that was the time I decided that I'm going to enjoy life as it is, and in that moment. And of course, I'm doing the best of what I could do. And of course, I can't say that I've become such a great enlightened person that nothing bothers me. Of course, still there are times that I get upset or disappointed, but that's very, very short-lived. So immediately I come back to myself and say, well, that's it, let it go. I can't do anything about it now. I'll think about it tomorrow or another day. Let's enjoy what I've got right now. So that's why, please enjoy your life right now. So now we learn, never give up. That's the biggest thing. Never give up on hope. And if you do your 110% of becoming wealthy or becoming successful, please go through that. And just keep staying with it. So don't let anybody else's opinion convince you that you don't deserve anything more. And at the same time, I would like to tell you this, when I read it, it was very interesting. A German proverb says that no one is luckier than the one who believes in luck. So, and now these days, I have this written next to my computer somewhere, that every now and then, which of course, I still get some stuff through work and Royal Commission and all the governments and all the changes, especially these days, we have to living with a new way of life. But I just say, I keep telling myself that yes, the luck is what is happening in my mind, and that only me can create it, and only me has got the power to take it away. So that's why set some lucky goals. Make small and put some small goal settings, which we talked about it many times before in our TV Wealth channel. And it's all about how to set a goal scientifically to make sure you'll achieve them. Have those small bites of goal setting. And once you reach that, put it in your journal. So that's why you can increase the number of lucky events in your journal, and then tell yourself that how lucky you are by focusing and just simply shifting your mind from the unlucky event to the lucky event. And there are many ways that you can increase it. So, and I'm just going to list a few and see what resonates with you. One is find treasure in trash. No matter what happened in your life, we talked about this in another episode, which was about how to turn your bad story to good stories. Find always treasure in trash. No matter what happened in life, try to look at the positive side. And have that attitude of like a phoenix from ashes. So it doesn't matter what happened to you in life. We've seen people who actually been in prison for something that if they didn't even do, how unfair they must have felt, how unlucky they must have in their life, but they came out after many years and still they managed to go to the top because they've got that phoenix in them. So wake up that phoenix in yourself and commit it to become your own hero. As a child from my time, so we always used to watch Disney movies or read Disney books and thinking about that hero. As a girl, obviously, I used to think, well, I need a hero, someone who comes to save me. And that was very disappointing because that never happened. But only when I learned that I can become my own hero. So that was such a great epiphany to say that, yes, I don't need someone else to save me. I can save myself. So wake up that hero. You've got the hero in you. And visualize the outcome you expect. And I'm not talking about that only that law of attraction of just sitting there, visualize, do nothing. No, I'm just saying do your 110%, but at the same time visualize the outcome, visualize something good that you wanted to happen, because only through that you can attract and create the luck and whatever you want to manifest in your life. Oprah has got a great saying, said that you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you become. You need to manifest what you really, really, truly are. So that's why it's the difference between wishing or really wanting something. And another one, the last one, which again, that's my secret weapon, is use your weakness as your strength. So find out whatever weakness you have, you think is a weakness, just think on that and say that how I can use this as my strength. Because if you don't use that in your own favor, you will always be dragged by that weakness. For me personally, being from a non-English speaking background, and my accent was my weakness. And no matter what happened, I always thought, well, I can't go to this level because I'm sure their audience is not going to want to listen to me or anything, because I used to think that's a weakness. And only when through my coach and mentor I found out and worked on my weakness, now you can see. And I believe now it's almost exactly a year since we started this TV channel. So by next episode, we're going to have our celebration of becoming 1 year of Well TV channel. And that's what it is. So at least I know I can never, ever let that weakness is stopping me, ever. So it doesn't matter if I have to go talk to, a stadium of 100,000 people or to be one-to-one, I will never let that fear stop me again. I'm sure there are other fears, but I will work with them as they come along. So I truly believe the day that I saw this book in the bookshop, and somehow I singled it out and got interested to go and buy it and read it, to me, I consider myself lucky to find this book. So there are many events that now I feel that I'm lucky. So to me, you are watching this, you are in your comment, my audience, they make me lucky. And if you ever think that hopefully one day you'll come back and say, well, by watching this episode, you thought differently about luck, and now you have created that vibration, that luck, and you have made some progress in your life, I'm more than happy and stoked that I'm part of that, even being part of your brain. So that is to me being lucky that I was able to help someone else to feel lucky. So if you think this episode is going to help someone that you love and they're going to need to watch this, please be a good friend and tag them there. And please leave your comments. I would love to hear them. And until next episode, have a happy, healthy, wealthy life.